Klaus Larres is a professor of history and international affairs at the University of North Carolina. He joins me now live. Professor, do you think it's wise for Ukraine to be cautious here, knowing what we know about Russia? Could this be a Russian trap, you think?
It's absolutely it makes sense to be cautious. We don't really know what is happening. It's a very confusing situation, and it could, of course, be a trap. But all indications are that the Russians are indeed withdrawing from Kherson. Recently, the American National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has also said that American intelligence seems to have signs that the Russians are indeed leaving. But of course, no one can blame the Ukrainians for being very cautious and to suspect a trap. But in all likelihood, the Russians are leaving Kherson.
So if Russia does indeed withdraw from Kherson, what would be the implications? What could that likely mean for the war?
Yes, and above all, we have to ask ourselves, why are they leaving? And I think there are two main reasons. There's a military and a domestic reason. Militarily, the winter is coming, and I get the impression that the Russians want to freeze the war, want to withdraw to the other side of the Dnipro River, to basically winter there, stay there for the winter and wait until the winter is over and then start a spring offensive. That would also give them the opportunity to train the recently mobilized troops, which, as we know, are highly inexperienced young people who have never, or many of them have never seen war before. So they need to be trained. And that would explain to withdraw to a safe area where Russia can prepare. And then, of course, there's also the domestic implications. There's been a lot of criticism by even very pro-Russian sympathizers within Russia of Putin's war strategy. And there has been a lot of criticizing and criticism that the Russians are using these newly mobilized forces as cannon fodder, and to train them and to say they're withdrawing to save lives, that makes an impact domestically, and will Putin give some time to actually recuperate the initiative and perhaps start the war again in the spring.
As we now well know, Turkey has been trying to mediate between Russia and Ukraine. Since the start of this war, efforts have really not gone very far. But could Russia withdrawing some of its troops make room for a possible window of diplomacy?
Theoretically, yes. And some analysts have claimed that that might be a turning point of the war, leading to negotiations. Personally, I'm doubtful. If it is correct what I said before, that that Putin wants to wait and preserve his forces and wait until a spring offensive is possible after the winter, that doesn't sound like being ready to negotiate. Also, the Ukrainians are not really ready to negotiate. They want to recapture all of Ukrainian territory lost to Russia, including even Crimea. And the EU has only today or yesterday indicated that they will not put pressure on Ukraine to go and seek negotiations. And the Americans have said the same. So unless Putin comes up with a very generous offer from his point of view and go for negotiations and offer something really attractive to Ukraine, I can't see that negotiations will actually succeed or will even be started. And that offer really had to be that Putin was ready to give up Ukrainian territory he has conquered. And at the moment, I don't think that we can expect that Putin will do that.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Professor Klaus Larres joining us from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Thank you for your time.